stabilize and empathize their world because they had to make a mountain out of a molehill. Will you be here for us? That's very linked to we need a place to belong. Especially when they go through tough times, challenges. One of the questions is, who are my significant caregivers? Who cares enough for me? And will they be here for us in a non-judgmental manner? We want to be trusted. You hear this over and over again, right? Can I ask you this question? Can they be trusted? One, no one. So quick. Can they be trusted? Huh? How do you exercise trust? Yeah, let me tell you something. It's a kite game, you know. Push, pull, push, pull. Because trust, understand this, trust must be built. And you don't set someone up for failure. You don't set you up for failure. I trust you. Then come back, broke the promise, betrayed the trust, and then you say, next time I will never trust you again. We must push, 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 and stretch this economy of trust. It's almost like playing games, but you have an expectation that you set a benchmark for this person to build trust, but also get ready for contingency that this person might fall and fail. But there's a technique to build trust. So remember, trust must be built. It's not just, okay, then I trust you. You trust in small amounts, in small stations, then you build up. Don't tell me you want to go and you can keep a pet and you can't even, can't even keep your bedroom clean, something like that. So you start with small things. You talk to me in 2 weeks, you keep your study table tidy, then we talk about your pet. Alright? Please don't nag. You hear this? Please don't nag. Now can I ask you this? Does saying something twice constitute nagging? I tell you once already, then I have to repeat one more time. Is that nagging? Oh, is that nagging? That's tough. Well, we can only say once. Ask you to clear your room. Then come back, never clear. Ask you to clear your room again. Oh, you nagging. Then they catch you. I think that we can be creative in rephrasing our question while still addressing the same issue. So it requires a kind of creativity, okay? But they are definitely don't nag. Okay. Here are some youth developmental changes that I'd like you to take note of. Second page, I think. Physical changes. Of course, puberty, they are changing. Especially during the age of 11, 10, even 10 to 14. This is the age where they are changing biochemically in their body. Hormones are released and a lot of changes, growth spurt. But also in their self-consciousness of who they are, because as they change, as they grow up within this accelerated rate of changes in the body, they begin to be very self-conscious. Oh, how come my body changed? How come the hair will start coming up? How come my pimples? And then we're going to be very sensitive. We cannot like Chinese New Year later, hey, how come you look fat? Please refrain from that kind of thing. Okay, because they're very heightened in their self-awareness. And also their sexual awareness. So we have to, as parents, as caregivers, we must protect that. We cannot join in the fun with the aunties like, yeah, told us not to eat so much, you see? Fat, fat, fat. Don't like that, please. Because they are looking around for safety. Emotional changes, along with the hormones, come mood swings. And you think you have mood swings. I tell you, they have it and they don't know it, that's worse. And they don't know how to handle it. And that's why many young people today are falling into the depression cycle or other disorders that are spun out, not just from their hormonal changes, but because of the world they live in, full of changes. Cognitive change, their brain. Mentally, they are developing. So give it time, alright? Because their intellectual capacity may not be at a stage where they can understand what you're talking about. Don't be frustrated, don't try to be patient and exercise grace. That's why it takes a lot of hand-holding during these tumultuous years. Their processing can be off. And worse, influenced by other friends or the way their models, the role models in the world are teaching them. That's why parents, you need to teach them before the world teaches them. Okay? Social changes, their friends, their environment are changing. I think there's no other period in our lives that are filled with so much changes as that compared to a young person. I mean, from P6, they move to Set 1, change. Then give you another 4 or 5 years, change. JC, ITE, Poly. For the guys, even worse, change to NS. and it's a stressful environment, and then change some more for higher learning, and it keeps changing and changing and changing. Very stressful, and it makes a young person, the word is vulnerable. Vulnerable. The world of youth is filled with changes. Now, if you're aware of this, then you begin to feel more empathy towards your child. There's a lot of changes. And if they don't know how to cope with changes, or we aggravate them by saying, why you cannot? Why so simple thing you cannot? You are actually exasperating them, aggravating the situation. That's why when children move on to step 1 and they start having all these puberty changes and all that, do you notice that a lot of them begin to use the phone a lot, MSN a lot, SMS a lot, and then we're wondering, what's wrong with you 3 AM still up on the phone? Why? Because they're trying to find for some platform for stability, and their form of stability is relationships. Why talk so much on the phone? What's so good to talk about? For us, it can be very objective. Okay, maybe just ask the question, yes, no, that's it, put down. For them, it's building relationships. They are finding a source, a platform of stability in the world of changes. That's why it's the best time to build relationships with your child. Even though they may put up walls and all that, but I tell you, once you can engage them and build solid relationships, things will change. I'd like to talk a bit about the psychosocial development, or the way they relate to their world, their surroundings. Okay? I want to talk about the first 3 sections, so I won't go too much into the rest. 6 to 12 is childhood. 13 to 19 is adolescence, which is teenagehood. 19 to 25 is what we call young adulthood. Now after that, we belong to that category. Okay? Their psychosocial task as a child is industry, meaning function, motor skills, and they are trying to relate in a physical world. Yeah? Because the boundaries are all physical for them. They don't know the dangers, for example, of crossing a busy street. Yeah? And so they are figuring that out. But teenagers, their psychosocial task is identity and individualism, meaning they start to find out who they are as a person, as an identity, and it's differentiated, we use the term, differentiated from that of their family members or their parents. That's why there's a time when they begin to move out and they don't like to go out shopping or watch movie with you anymore. You know? Because it's so uncool. My parents, I don't want to be contained with my friends cannot say, those are parents. They don't want, they want to be individual and identity. The funny thing is, the ironical thing is that they want to stand out unique, but then they also follow their friends. Because, why? They find their identity in their peers, in groups. This is the time where gangs come out, because they identify with their friends. And if it's negative, then gangs and all those other things are. Okay? Young adulthood, they begin to move into what we call intimacy. They're thinking about lifelong partner. They're thinking about who they will settle down and even family issues. They're thinking about such things. That would be a good time to talk about going steady. That's why when I do BGR in schools, I will always say, hang on to your urges, you can wait. But in this instant generation, cannot wait. 12 years old, go steady, 11 years old, primary school also can have boyfriend, girlfriend. Right? Actually, this will be a better time because you're really thinking about how to give and not just get. I will have to move on because I'm going to zoom into this section by using some pictures now. I would normally use a flip chart or whiteboard to do this because the visual impact is much more impactful, but I put some pictures for you. In a 6 to 12 years old, it's like a boat. Imagine this young person, a child. It's like a boat at dock. That means they are at a harbour. Right? It's what we call a phase of equipping. This is the age where parents and caregivers begin to equip. Equip in what way? There's a few ways, a few areas. And I do a program for primary school, especially P6 students,